You got One Night of Queen tribute band. You got Disco Fever 2022.
So that's like the kind of stuff that would be at the Bergen Pack as well as also this Morristown theater.
That's his name.
Yeah.
So, but Bergen Pack, I have to say, also has like it's a pretty wide.
I saw Elvis Costello there. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got decent stuff.
I saw Alice Cooper there. That was my flashback there. But,
there's all kinds of. There's a place in Newton, like New Jersey, that's the same way. It's like Main Street's feeling a little revival, and like you'll get bands like Red Lorry, Yellow Lorry, and you're like, what the hell are they doing up there? Kind of thing. And Ethan booked them there. It's it's a spot now.
And you get there's a place called like, God, I wish I could remember. Ethan would know what it was, and it's called like Joe's Garage, and I want to say it's like it's like near Red Bank or something like that, and it's kind of like and you go and you look who's playing there, and it'll be like Robin Hitchcock.
Absolutely. That Red Bank area is just popping.
That place is hopping, yeah. And you have that Count Basie Theater,
Red Bank, Asbury, all those places in there, and he is.
But at least, but I'm saying maybe it's because like we give them credibility, but these are artists that peaked 35 years ago, whereas we're making fun of the ones that peaked 55 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. Sometimes strange things happen. There's a blues club out in Stanhope, New Jersey. And I don't know, 5-6 years ago, maybe it's 8 years ago at this point, I saw the Super Suckers out there.
Yeah, but there was a place.
Stanhope still has that thing out there. What is that? Stanhope House or something like that?
Yeah, that's the place I'm talking about. And I was like, what are those guys doing there?
It was always a real venue, though. Like that was it. It had lean days, I think.
When we were there was maybe 20 people there. It was incredible that they were able to pay those guys. And I don't know, it's one of those flukes.
Because the next night they had like what they have here is Paul Anka sings.
Sings what?
Sings Sinatra. And Paul Anka is 90 years old. I heard an interview with him. Man, that guy is sharp as hell. He's like he goes through his whole career about like how he the way he fought and sort of essentially kind of was so engaged in the business, like he just knew how to keep it going. Think about it, like that was Paul Anka ever like not successful? You know what I mean? It was like he had his hand in like from his writing his own songs to he wrote the theme song to the Tonight Show. He wrote My Way. He wrote
like a guy like Paul Anka could just like still play Vegas, like as long as he wanted to, what I mean? Like we'll find you
the Vegas you're referencing kind of doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Vegas now is Marshmallow, DJ bottle service that costs you $2,500 a ticket, or Adele is done, or Britney Spears or Madonna.
It's not an old crowd at all.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the other? What's the other city in?
Crowd? I have to go see it. Like, you know what I mean?
No, there's like another city in Nevada.
Branson, Missouri.
No, but in Nevada there is like another city Reno. That is like the old. Yeah, there you go.
It's Reno.
No, we're not playing Vegas. We're playing Reno. And that's the hipper cooler. Yeah.
It's not. Reno. It's not far from Vegas. It's closer to the dam. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Laughlin, Nevada. That's the town.
I don't know. I like Reno, but it could be Laughlin. Sure, it's like
Reno's not that close. Reno's, that's
the biggest little city in the West.
But that's more like Reno, Tahoe area. It's like
You're right. It is. There's a Tahoe. It's Tahoe area.
I haven't heard that outside of. I haven't heard about their entertainment.
I've been there. I've been to Reno.
You're more well traveled.
Just to watch them die.
Yeah, right. Passing through. I was passing through Reno.
John, you're more well traveled than us, so we got to go defer with you.
I have not. I don't remember being to Reno if I've been to Reno.
That would sound like, I don't know. I guess it's not on the 66 tour, but Route 66 line, but that seems like, yeah.
The question on Final Jeopardy the other night was, this artist put out a record last year of all original material.
Yep, I got it.
95 years old.
97, I thought it was.
95, I thought they said.
Okay.
To the Guinness World Book.
Was it Paul Anka?
The oldest. What's that?
Was it Paul Anka?
Think of another old cat like that.
Well, I don't think of Tony Bennett doing original songs.
It's Tony Bennett.
Tony Benedetto.
It's all new songs, all original songs, like all like that. Like we didn't split hairs over writing credits and stuff like that. It was a final Jeopardy question.
Yeah, original. I just thought,
and they called it original.
Yeah,
all new original. So it wasn't whatever. At any rate,
he wasn't. He was the original singer of them. So they were first released. Yeah.
There you go. It's
There
all new material. 95 years old. I think he retired, though, if I'm not mistaken. I thought I saw him with his wife
60
on
minutes.
60 Minutes.
60 minutes, yeah.
They should lay it down.
Yeah. I'm saving the best for last.
Well, John, I was going to ask, are you going to talk about
on that record? Is that?
No, I'm saving.
No, that's the name of
South
a song.
by Southwest. Are we going to talk about that?
I'm saving the best for last by Tony Bennett. Okay, go ahead.
The best is yet to come is Tony Bennett, by the way.
Wow.
So, no, at the St. George Theater is The Blues Brothers, starring Dan Aykroyd and Jim Belushi.
And James Belushi.
Now, do you think, I'm just thinking how athletic, or at least how, hyper, Elwood would have to be. Those guys cannot be spring chickens. They have to be 70.
They weren't. So I saw those guys in Atlanta during the Olympics. They did a gig, and I might have mentioned this story before.
Gee, they were in great shape. They were in the Olympics.
They weren't. I mean, 20 years ago, they were like old timers. It was Jim Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, and who jumped on that one? I want to say
John Goodman.
John Goodman. Yes,
nice. Right.
He was in it, and there might have been some other guy, some other guy on there. But to their credit, from what I remember, it was either Sam or Dave. One of those guys was there.
Well, that was their band, right?
Right.
It was pretty much the Snacks band. That was.
And then Steve, the backup band was there. Steve Cropper was there, and I had a chance to talk to him afterwards. And so
that's cool.
Yeah, I was talking to Steve Cropper, and I was asking for a guitar pick, and he kind of wouldn't do it. He was kind of, and I said, I had a Fender catalog as a kid, and I told him exactly the thing, and your picture was in there, and I had that on my wall, and he finally was like, he's like, I got to him. I wasn't just talking nonsense. When I called out that catalog, 82 or 83 or whatever it was, he knew I was for real. He gave me a pick and shook his head and nodded like, yeah, okay, here you go.
Okay. You dropped enough. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. That wasn't like, shoo, get away from me, kid.
It's also good to know that you got having Steve Cropper's guitar pick. It's not like having, Rick Nielsen.
I don't know where that is now. That is definitely one I wish I kept. But at one point I did have. I do have that story though, and that was fun.
Hey, man, catching one of Rick Nielsen's guitar picks is still. I would be.
Oh, let's hear that story. I thought someone did.
He was the guy who just
he's flicking them out. I see. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So having the
27 neck guitar that he's playing.
I think 7, but yeah. Apparently, there's a Fender Firebird that they only made 5. There's only 5 known copies, and he owns 3 of them.
I thought he showed up on the Pickers, American Pickers one day. And
yeah.
Selling off a lot of his stuff. Just the one, the kind of cartoony one with him on it and stuff like that. I think he was like, yeah, that one's for sale too. Or like that one.
Yeah,
that was in the MTV video. You remember those guitars?
Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff is staged to draw attention that these are being auctioned off or whatever. That whole Pawn Star and whatever.
Yeah,
that.
Sure.
Let's talk Cheap Trick a bit. I mean, Bunny Carlos on drums. I mean that. So what do we know about their story?
Well, we know that Bunny.
I can tell you, he played that Bunny Carlos, and they played with John Lennon. during Double Fantasy. I can tell you that. Rick Nielsen and Tony Carlos.
Oh, wow.
Make the final record though. I think it's on. I think it's on.
Not on the record.
Yeah.
Right? They did like some versions that I think even Tony Visconti was like, I really liked them a lot, but it didn't make the final muster.
Yeah, I'm sure they came out. There's like almost like nothing that Yoko hasn't put out in one of those Lennon box sets that are like.
I've seen it on YouTube, but someone built a video around it and stuff like that. And it's, I like it. I think it's I'm Losing You or one of those like.
Yeah. The Bergen Pack is definitely one of those places that like Cheap Trick probably was playing there like up until the COVID lockdown, coming through every year in some iteration or another.
And they work all the time. They play, but like they'll go out. It'll be like Cheap Trick in Chicago, and they'll play theater. And then it'll be like but at the same time it'll be like Cheap Trick's playing the West Coast leg of the Foo Fighters tour, or there's kind of nobody that dislikes them, kind of thing. You know what I mean? They get, and they're since they're pretty straight ahead and they have pop hits, it kind of works for the mom and dad. It works for the cool kids and they could play with they could be on a. What's the one called? It's like the Endless Summer Tour with Sugar Ray and Everclear. Like you could see.
Yeah. But doesn't Cheap Trick have like their story of? That live album comes. They're really not that big, and that live album at the Budokan comes out, and all of a sudden it's the biggest.
It gets scrambled up a little, right? It's like they were actually a burgeoning band here. And they went over there, and it just the singles that became hits here were just hits there first, and they go and they play Budokan, and it kind of freaked them out. Like they weren't expecting it. And they recorded the show, they cut it down, and it became like I think one of the most popular imports ever because they just happened to be breaking. And in fact, what was
the greatest live record of all time.
Yeah,
and they apparently they had actually recorded the Dream Police album, and that record just didn't go away. Like it just the live record. They're like, I put this out. I think it's someone. The classic story is some DJ was playing the live version of "I Want You to Want Me," and because the first one like just did it here, and it took off, and so they essentially had to sit on the Dream Police record for a couple of years, really. Before they finally put it out.
I was going to say it's a couple of years because I had both those records.
Yeah, and it was funny because it was like that record. It was like you definitely remember the vibe was like the success went to their head. This record's it's overproduced and blah blah blah. And of course it
was already in the can.
It was it was all done already.
Does to this one not long ago?
Mm.
The song I wanted to hear was the big one, like the video one. If You Want My Love.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Right. Is there something to the
too?
What's that?
He had a falling out with Bunny. I want to say like he hasn't been in the band for like 15 years. They asked him to leave. I don't know what the story is. Like I think some argument over money or something. But
that's usually what it does, right? Is there something to the story or effect of like, when they record that album or whatever, I guess it's like they're playing the Budokan. I don't know how many thousands of people are there. And then somehow somebody else here in the States, a DJ or somebody hears it. And it's like, oh, these guys are a huge band, or they have the potential to be the huge. Look what happened in Japan. Is there anything that kind of influence?
Well, there's always, it was an accident, like they're like after the 70s, there's no accidents anymore. There's a promo guy who's like I know I could break this if you just play it here,
right.
I'll get you a bigger bag of blow if you just play it. If the phones don't react, I'll never speak of it again. But
is the label's point of view like, you see that big crowd that they have in Japan? We could definitely be doing that in the U.S. They got to be this big in the U.S. Get out there and work the phones or work whatever the equivalent of that is, right?
But there's you say the label, but remember the way a label works is they have 75 bands, right? So right, and each of them have there's a radio guy, who has to bring songs. That's like, so, hey, check out my 75 new song. No, you have to like, okay, these are the 5 songs we're working this week. Right. And